Happy Friday. Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. The Tennessee Vols go up to Lexington tonight for a big 3-game series this weekend, depending on whatever poll you're looking at, as there's like 7 of them. Can range anywhere. We'll just take the highest 2. Tennessee, their highest rankings, number 2. Kentucky's number 3. So we'll just roll with that. Number 2, Tennessee at number 3, Kentucky this weekend. Your SEC leader, Kentucky Wildcats, a team that's on a roll right now. Not just an SEC play, but overall. So I'm going to get into this game. I'm going to talk a little bit about Kentucky. We'll look at the pitching matchups, and I want to look at both teams' schedules as they go forward. And both of them are pretty similar to their competition that they've played so far. As Tennessee's played Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Auburn, LSU. The only difference in Kentucky's schedule, they played Missouri instead of LSU. So neither team, to be honest about it, have played the best of the best in the conference yet. Alabama is the best team that either of them have played so far. So this is a proven point for both teams this weekend. And then when I look at both schedules down the stretch, it's going to amp up a bit for both of them. So it'll be real interesting to see how this SEC race plays out. Just because, like I said, both teams, you got to take care of business, whatever it is, for sure. But, both teams so far have not played the best of the best in conference. But with that said, let's get into Kentucky and look at their team right now. So individually, batting-wise, looking at Nick Lopez, 403, 4 home runs, 29 RBIs. Ryan Waldschmidt, 339. He has 6 home runs, 25 RBIs. Ryan Nicholson, 312, 11 homers, 37 RBIs. Emilian Petre, I hope I pronounced that right, 310, 5 homers, 35 RBIs. Grant Smith, 297, 4 and 23. Nolan McCarthy, 295, 5 home runs, 25 RBIs. Mitchell Daly, 284, 3 and 31. It's a pretty solid lineup that they have right here, and is your main starters. They do have a couple other guys, James McCoy and Patrick Herrera, who have started, looks like 20 and 16 games respectively. And looking at their numbers, McCoy, 257, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. Herrera, 0 home runs, 11 RBIs as well. And Kentucky site doesn't have on their stats anything about their stolen bases. So I'm not sure on that one how much of stolen base threats that you're looking for there for Cal Stark and or Cannon Peebles this weekend. So that's Kentucky's lineup. It's a good lineup, good hitters. They're pitching. Main guys here. Let's see. I know for your weekend rotation, your pitching matchups for this are going to be Chris Stamos for Tennessee against Trey Puser for Kentucky. Puser is 3-0, 4.11 ERA. Saturday, Drew Beam, 5-1, 3.16. Back to Stamos, 3-0, 3.45 ERA. Game 2 on Saturday, Beam, 5-1, 3.16 against Dominic Niemann, 7-2, 3.40 ERA. Game 3 on Sunday, Xander Seacrest, 1-0, 3.34 ERA versus Mason Moore, 7-0, 3.45 ERA. And looking at these pitchers as well for Kentucky, we're looking at, with Puser, he has 10 appearances. He's started 4 games. He has actually 2 saves as well, 35 innings. This Kentucky side is not good on their stats. They don't have a lot. They don't have their strikeout numbers on here. So I would be interested to see that one. Let's see who else we have here. Mason Moore has gone 47 innings. He started 9 games so far. Neiman has also 9 games, 53 innings. So these guys do throw some, averaging. They're averaging over, Moore's averaging over 5 innings per appearance. Neiman is close to averaging almost 6 innings per appearance on that. So these are some guys who they're solid. They're solid in their pitching. They give you good quality starts out of that. Again, I'd like to see their strikeout numbers to see a little bit more about them, but there's nothing on the Kentucky website about it, unless I can pull something else up. But, looking at both teams as well, I think there's a lot of similarities. Again, Kentucky, pretty solid ERAs here that they have. And it's going to be a tough series. Let's make no mistake about it. It's at Kentucky. It's a team, again, I talked about earlier with their schedule where, let me pull that schedule back up here a minute. So their schedule so far, looking at SEC play, so they took in Lexington, they swept Georgia. They went to Missouri, took 2 out of 3. They swept Ole Miss in Oxford. They swept Alabama in Lexington, and they swept Auburn at Auburn this past weekend. So they have won 10 in a row in conference, plus they've won their midweek games. Well, they've won 4 in a row. They lost to Samford April 9th. They did this past week. They swept Auburn, then they beat Louisville on Tuesday. So, again, it's a really good baseball team. It's a team that I think they're overachieving based on what they were predicted in the preseason. 31-5 overall, 14-1 in conference. Very impressive record what they're doing. And again, you have to do it against who it is. It's same with Tennessee right now. But even if Tennessee sweeps this weekend, they're still best case going to be in second place coming out of the weekend. Is it realistic to go up and expect a sweep? I don't know. I mean, Tennessee's a good baseball team. It depends on how their hitting shows. It depends on how their pitching shows up as well. The pitching, we've talked about it. We've debated on the pitching, but it still ranks top 15 in the nation. So it's, what Tony Vitello and company's doing is still pretty impressive this year. Pretty impressive. They're figuring it out with their lineup. And keys for me with the lineup this weekend, I'm curious to see where they go in this one. If you look at, especially against the righty, of course, Tony is Hoozer's righty, Mason Moore's a righty, Nyman on Saturday, he's a lefty. So do they possibly go Reese Chapman a couple days and Hunter Ensley on it? Tony's not one that I think's really traditional in terms of righty lefty all the time. There's times he's not afraid to go lefty on lefty. So it remains to be seen. I think Reese Chapman has made a case to be in the lineup over Hunter Ensley. Both of them played good defense, but when it comes to bat, I mean, Chapman started out slow, but once he's got going, he's hit pretty well. Ensley had come along with the bat, and then he's back to not hitting again. Me personally, I'd rather see Chapman in that lineup, but we'll see how they go on that. We'll probably know something around, I'd say probably 4 or 5 o'clock. Normally is when they'll post the lineups for maybe earlier, possibly. But I'll have a post game recap tonight, right after the game. I don't think we'll do any live this weekend, not unless it's impromptu. I think we'll probably just go a little bit of post game for now, and then I'll go from there with it. But I did want to look at both teams' schedules after this weekend just really quickly. Here's Tennessee after this weekend, as that comes up. So after this week, all right, here we go. So after this weekend, Tennessee has Western Carolina Tuesday. Then they're Missouri at home next weekend. I think that's when Tennessee's got to take care of business on. You've got Lipscomb. Then you're at Florida, May 2nd through May 4th. You're at Vanderbilt, May 10th through 12th. South Carolina at home to wrap it up. So, I mean, Tennessee doesn't have the tough. Those last 3 series will be tough. It's all good teams coming in. Kentucky down the stretch at South Carolina next weekend. Arkansas comes to Lexington May 3rd through 5th. And then they conclude the season they've got, they're at Florida and then Vanderbilt at home to conclude the season. So Kentucky's last 4 series are pretty rough. So it'll be interesting to see who concludes the season with the SEC championship into regular season championship. But I'm going to wrap up on that one. Like I said, I'll be with you the rest of the weekend, post-game coverage on that. Bring any Lady Vols news. Brought a video earlier about one of the Lady Vols hitting the portal. Getting any kind of news on basketball, we'll hit on that as well. Men's basketball will go on that as well. But my name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. It is free. Last but not least, go Vols.